Good morning, America. Massive wildfire growing into California's biggest of the year, gobbling up ground as fast as 5,000 acres an hour. Flames consuming an area larger than Los Angeles.
As you can see, there's a lot of spot fires popping up. The smoke incredibly thick.
An evacuation zone covering 1,200 square miles. The forecast that could help firefighters and the health concerns from spreading smoke.
Escalating tensions. Israel hits targets in Lebanon following a deadly attack on a soccer field in the Golan Heights that Israel blames on Hezbollah. Children among those killed, the new concerns of a broader conflict.
We are officially 100 days until Election Day. The new poll with favorable news for Vice President Kamala Harris as Democrats and Republicans kick their campaigns into high gear. Donald Trump taking aim at Harris's policies. Political analysis just ahead.
Summerween, the spooky summer holiday catching on with more Americans.
The marrying of Halloween and summer has honestly just been like the perfect combo.
As retailers stock their stores with early Halloween merchandise, should you buy now or wait for the leaves to fall?
And Summer Games success. Team USA racking up medals in swimming, diving, and cycling. The winning moments, the U.S. women's water polo team scoring a victory, helped by none other than Flavor Flav.
I'm known to be the greatest hype man in America, the first, the original.
All the highlights as the Americans go for the gold.
Live from ABC News in New York, this is Good Morning America.
What were you saying, Whit?
Yeah, boy! I love Flavor Flav. Public Enemy #1.
Yeah. And that is how we say Good Morning America. We're going to be going live to Paris for coverage of the Summer Games just ahead, including the long journey back to the games for American swimmer Simone Manuel, sidelined by overtraining, how she fought to come back, and oh, did she, and how it paid off overnight. We're going to have
Team USA off to such an exciting start. Also ahead, important medical news about breast cancer. Our Dr. Darian Sutton joins us with the details on a new study about the potential benefits of surgery.
Looking forward to that, but we begin here with the urgent battles against more than 100 wildfires in the U.S. The Park Fire in Northern California front and center and growing at an incredible pace. ABC's Jacqueline Lee joins us now with the latest from near Chico, California. Jacqueline, good morning.
Wick, good morning to you. This fire ripped through everything in its path within a matter of minutes, including this house over here. You can see this mangled refrigerator. It goes right through the living room and this burnt out car. This morning, California's biggest fire of the year, scorching more than 350,000 acres, larger than the size of Los Angeles, now 10% contained. With more than 130 structures destroyed, the fire consuming everything in its path, burning more than 5,000 acres an hour. These are the before and after satellite images showing the extent of the Park Fire's massive devastation. As you can see, there's a lot of spot fires popping up, the smoke incredibly thick, turning the sky orange. And this comes as firefighters are racing to get the Park Fire under control ahead of the next heat wave. This as evacuation orders are expanding beyond the initial Tehama and Butte counties, pushing into the neighboring Shasta and Plumas counties. Governor Gavin Newsom declaring a state of emergency.
It got really burned up.
As we toured the devastation just outside Chico, we came across rancher John Russell. How much in damages did this cost your family?
I can't tell you yet.
He took us on a ride through the 200-acre Joellen Hall Ranch. Firefighters constructing a fire line around the barn.
That's what saved this place.
And most importantly,
that's Amaryllis.
Their beloved cattle survived. It feels like a miracle standing here and you see all of them walking towards us.
Yeah.
Their family.
Yeah.
And the community overall anxiously waiting for what's next. Now, the combination of lower temperatures and higher humidity helped firefighters overnight. Wet.
Another major concern there. Jacqueline Lee for us. Thank you. Now to the Middle East as Israel hits targets in Lebanon overnight following a deadly attack on a soccer field. Children among those killed. Israel blaming Hezbollah, promising the militant group will pay a heavy price as negotiations continue for a possible ceasefire in Gaza. ABC's Matt Rivers joins us now in the Golan Heights with the latest. Matt, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Whit. This is the town of Majd al-Shams, and this is the spot right here where the United States and the IDF say an Iranian-made Hezbollah rocket struck. It decimated this area, and quite frankly, it decimated the children that were playing on this. This is a soccer field where the kids were playing at the time. At least 12 people have been killed, 10 of them between the ages of 10 to 16 years old. I just want to show you some more of the damage here. You can see this fence completely destroyed. You can see some of the debris left here by the kids who had come here on their scooters and bikes to play soccer, only to have their lives lost. And this is actually a bomb shelter. You can see what the rocket did, the shrapnel crashing into this concrete, causing these impact craters here. And we're told that some of the children that were playing here actually were making their way to this bomb shelter when an alert went off. And they weren't able to make it here in time, obviously. Now, the big question, of course, is what happens next. There are fears that this could lead to an all-out war between Hezbollah and Israel. They have been exchanging fire since October 8th at the Lebanon border. And so there are real concerns because Israel says it's going to respond in a very forceful way. We have to see how they respond. A very tense time here in Israel with the United States and Secretary of State Antony Blinken saying he hopes this does not lead to a regional escalation. Rhiannon?
All right, Matt Rivers, thank you for that report. Back home now as the presidential race enters its final 100 days, all sides looking to stage a full court press, which is 3 months to go. ABC White House correspondent Mary Alice Parks joins us now from the White House. Good morning, Mary Alice.
Rhiannon, good morning. Just 100 days to go until Election Day. Vice President Kamala Harris celebrating this groundswell of support. Her team saying that she has raised more than $200 million in this last week, signed up more than 100,000 volunteers. Trump, for his part, going on the attack, saying he's done with any idea of playing nice after that assassination attempt 2 weeks ago. A brand new matchup now off to the races. Both campaigns fanned out across the country, hoping to get voters energized with 100 days to go until Election Day. Former President Donald Trump campaigning alongside his running mate, Senator J.D. Vance in Minnesota, bashing his new opponent, Vice President Kamala Harris.
So now we have a new candidate to defeat the most incompetent, unpopular, and far-left vice president in American history.
Trump claiming that the former prosecutor is soft on crime, pointing to past statements of hers supporting the Black Lives Matter movement.
She's defund the police, and I'm overfund the police.
But Harris has rejected efforts to defund the police and backed President Biden's budgets to help local police departments hire. Senator Vance on stage trying to tie Harris to President Biden and questions of his well-being. The Ohio senator this week also trying to clean up past statements of his about women without kids and wanting to, quote, punish taxpayers without kids, too. Harris calling Vance's comments, quote, weird. Her campaign, only a week old, energizing Democrats.
Level set. We're the underdogs in this race. But this is a people power campaign. And we have momentum.
A team of possible running mates campaigning on her behalf this weekend, too, including Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, and Minnesota's Governor Tim Walz, known for his strong union ties, with this to say about Trump visiting his state.
He's here today in the state of hockey to complete his trifecta. He lost in 16, he lost in 20, he loses in 24.
Now, it's interesting that while Trump is trying to paint Harris as not supportive enough of police, the New York Times actually obtained emails from Senator Vance showing that he looked frustrated with law enforcement. He wrote to a friend in 2014 saying, quote, I hate the police. Now, he said that it was unfortunate these private conversations leaked and his views have since changed. Gio?
All right, Mary Alice, thank you so much. Let's go ahead and bring in ABC's political director and Washington bureau chief, Rick Klein. Rick, good morning. Thank you for being here. We have a new ABC News Ipsos poll coming out this morning. What does it tell us about Vice President Harris's debut as a presidential candidate?
Yeah, good morning, Gio. What a difference a week makes. 7 days ago, we still had Joe Biden, a very unpopular president, running for re-election. Now, in the space of just a week, Kamala Harris has turned her numbers around substantially. Her favorability rating up 8 points in the space of a week. She is now viewed more favorably than unfavorably, which is rare these days. And just among independents, we saw a 16-point swing. A week ago, 28% of independents saw her favorably. Now it's 44%. So this is clearly an early honeymoon period, but it's also clear that the presidential race has essentially reset at this stage.
Absolutely, and we will see if that honeymoon lasts. And Rick, what about Trump and his running mate, J.D. Vance? We just heard Mary Alice. He's making a lot of news, too.
Yeah, and of course, just a week ago, J.D. Vance was fresh off being named at the convention, and Donald Trump was riding something of a hot streak. There was a wave of good sentiment toward him coming out of that convention and that assassination attempt. We saw Trump's favorability rating a week ago up as high as 40%, its highest in 4 years. Now it's back where it has been for a while, back in the mid-30s. And as for Vance, he is deeply underwater in terms of favorability. His unfavorable impressions have shot up over the course of the past week as more information has come out around his background and his backstory. A lot of consternation in Republican circles about his debut, but as I said, it's just getting started.
And what's next as we watch this race unfold now? Because as you said, it is a very different race now.
Yeah, Vice President Harris is in a position to formally clinch the nomination just in the next couple of days. Democrats are doing that virtually to avoid any kind of confusion at the convention. So once that's done, she can focus on a running mate, and it's a very compressed timeline for her to choose. Our polling doesn't show much in terms of how well known these candidates are, the potential running mates. But we did see a little bit of a spike in popularity for Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania. And among most of the people we looked at, the Arizona Senator Mark Kelly appears better known and more favorably known than many of the other potential candidates. But that's going to be Harris's choice. And again, everything's on this very compressed timeline now, Gio.
And she has said that she will pick that VP candidate by August 7th. So we will be watching that. All right, Rick, thank you so much. And tune into This Week Later. Martha Raddatz speaks with two Democratic governors, Maryland's Wes Moore and potential Democratic VP pick, J.B. Pritzker of Illinois, about Vice President Harris's prospects in the 2024 presidential race. Plus, Martha interviews New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu about how Republicans are reacting to a new Democratic rival. Whit?
Gio, now to an ABC News exclusive. 2 weeks after the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump, we're hearing from some of the local SWAT team members who were on duty during Trump's rally in Pennsylvania. ABC's senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky joins us now with more. And Aaron, this was quite a revealing interview.
We hope so, Whit. And these are the SWAT team members who were assigned to take up positions in defense of former President Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. And they told us they had no communication with the Secret Service until after the gunfire started. The SWAT team saw the shooter. They recognized him as suspicious, even took pictures of him. None of the concerns, though, had a chance of reaching decision makers before Trump took the stage because of what these men and women described as failures of planning and communication.
We were supposed to get a face-to-face briefing with the Secret Service snipers whenever they arrived, and that never happened. So I think that was probably a pivotal point where I started thinking things were wrong, because that never happened, and we had no communication with the Secret Service.
You had no communication with the Secret Service at all on that Saturday?
Not until after the shooting.
And by then?
It was too late.
This is the first time any of the Beaver County SWAT team members have spoken about what they concede is their failure too, and a burden they now have to bear. You're going to hear from the medic who pronounced the shooter dead, and from the team leader who's racing to learn all he can because former President Trump says he's going back to Western Pennsylvania for another rally.
It's really extraordinary. Some of these stories we have not heard before. So we'll be looking forward to more of this exclusive interview Monday morning here on GMA. Aaron, thanks so much. We appreciate it. Rhiannon, over to you.
Well, now we go to new research regarding breast cancer treatment and what it may mean for women making surgery choices. Joining us now is ABC medical correspondent and our friend, our favorite doctor, Dr. Darian Sutton. Nice to have you, as always. So pretty much everyone knows someone affected by breast cancer. And this new study is looking at the different ways women are treated for breast cancer and the outcomes. Break this down for us.
So this study is focusing on the surgical procedure of mastectomies. That's technically the surgical removal of breast tissue. The goal is to reduce the risk of a new diagnosis of breast cancer later on in life. Some women, 100,000 women, are undergoing this procedure each year, some women choosing to do the more aggressive approach of removing both or bilateral breasts. And this study looks to see what is the benefit in that. It found that although it reduced the risk of breast cancer, it doesn't change the overall survival. In this study, they followed more than 300,000 women with the diagnosis of breast cancer, and they looked at those who chose different options. And for those who got a full or bilateral breast mastectomy, they found found that they did have a reduced risk of breast cancer, but the overall survival among all groups was relatively the same. Now, these are important, but it's also important a factor to understand that women have different risk factors, and this wasn't truly considered in this study. So when you're making that decision, it still comes down to that patient and their provider.
So what does this study mean for women who are newly diagnosed?
Well, I think number one, the option and the understanding of a mastectomy is a personal one. It is unique and it is complex. And when you're making that decision, you should take into effect all of the other risk factors. For example, genetic history, family history, a personal history of cancer, even a prior history of radiation. And then that goes into that decision, weighing up against the risk of surgery. Again, it's unique and personal and complex for each and every person, and there is no wrong answer. Rhiannon, I think what's most important is that regardless of your decision, you make a plan for proactive screening of all cancers after that. And you want to make sure that you're staying up to date with all recommended screenings.
All right, very important information. Is it surprising?
It's not surprising. I would say that the risk reduction in terms of risk of breast cancer reducing is surprising or helpful to know, but the actual risk of death is not. And why? Because mastectomies, although they remove breast tissue, they don't prevent the risk of breast cancer cells going to other parts of the body. And so when we know that understands the risk, or that creates a risk for a woman in general. So we have to pay attention to these factors.
Have to pay attention. Dr. Darian Sutton, thank you as always. Always a pleasure. Gio.
All right, such an important conversation, Rhiannon and Dr. D. Thank you so much. Now to new claims that TikTok secretly tracks how its users engage with hot-button political issues. In a new court filing, the Department of Justice says TikTok collects data on how American users view topics like religion, abortion, and gun control. The DOJ claims that the social media giant harvests that information and passes it on to Chinese computer servers in bulk. This all comes as the Justice Department presses parent company ByteDance to sell TikTok or face a U.S. ban. A lot of people watching that.